show or an NFL show if we didn't do a handicap. Yes, the week 1 lines are out in the National Football League. You can already, in fact, actually, you're going to see all the lines for every single game, every single week. But we are going to focus on the week 1 NFL lines. And of course, we only go to one guy, and he's back. TroyWins from TroyWins.com. We went through every game in the week 1 schedule in the National Football League. I would save this because I would like to see how we'll do. We haven't talked in ages, it felt like. How are you? Are you the same person? Have you changed?
Same person, doing well, Puck. It's good to be back with you. And yeah, I was talking to a buddy this morning. It's amazing. The NFL does such a good job of making us feel like kickoff's just a couple of months away, when in reality, we still have some time. But hey, if we can get through June and July, we're going to have preseason football in August. So why the hell not look at the lines?
It's really remarkable what they do. When I saw the opening lines come out, I immediately thought of you. And I'm like, you know what? I wonder what Troy thinks about all these opening lines that have already come out. And then I looked, when I went through like all of the Seahawks lines, I was kind of, and they actually have, some sites actually have the lines in almost every game. And I think actually a lot of sites do. Yeah. And it was crazy to see like how many times the Seahawks were underdogs at home. It doesn't feel like Vegas. I don't know at this moment as we record this and it's playing on a Monday here on Memorial Day, that Vegas doesn't think all that much of those guys.
Yeah, I don't have their exact record in front of me, but they just haven't been the same home team over the last few years. We know they lost the home opener last year to the Rams. It doesn't feel like they've had that buzz over the last couple of years at home. I just remember, being a fan 5, 6, 7 years ago, and all the false start penalties, they'd show up in the screen over and over. How the fan base is setting records for opposing teams coming in and having false start penalties. It just doesn't feel like they have that buzz. So I don't think they're getting enough credit. They're not getting enough juice for those home field advantages anymore at Lumen Field.
Yeah, and it's a different team, and right there, they're also when you think of the Seahawks, Troy, it's the great unknown. Who are they? What are they? What can they be? And really, what is the outlook? Because there's so much uncertainty of who Mike Macdonald is as a coach, and what type of philosophy and coaching style he's going to have.
I couldn't agree more. I think they're one of the biggest wild card teams going into the year. I mean, obviously Ryan Grubb running that offense. I mean, is that going to, push that offense to new heights that we haven't seen? We know they have the talent. I think Tyler Lockett's a big question mark. How much is he going to give you this year? Does JSN take the next step up under the Ryan Grubb offense? I didn't think he had that great of a rookie year. Does a guy like DK Metcalf, does he step up under the Ryan Grubb offense? So that's a huge question mark. Let's be honest. The guy's never called plays in the NFL. I think, he's getting, I'm a diehard Husky, Puck. You know that. I think he's getting a little too much credit for calling plays at a high level in college football. Will that translate? I think that's a big question
mark.
It'd
be a huge storyline. I mean, it's a jump for him to go from that college game right into the NFL and be essentially a head coach, which is what Ryan Grubb is. He's the head coach there of the offense. All right, let's do this. Let's go. We are going to go through every game, week 1 of the NFL season, what the lines are at right now. They clearly are going to change a little bit, but I bet you they don't change that much. I mean, Troy knows this stuff at TroyWins.com. He'll tell you. Lines probably won't shift a ton. We are using the DraftKings Sportsbook app for the official lines, NFL odds week 1. Get all the lines there at the DraftKings Sportsbook app, and then go to the DraftKings Sportsbook right there. I said Sportsbook twice. There at the Tulalip Resort Casino, and you can walk up. You can go right to the window to make a bet. You can have the kiosks that are all around that fabulous resort. And now, and has been the case for a while, is you can just download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. When you're on property and they're geo-fenced, you can just simply make bets from your phone. Let's get to it. The NFL season, Troy, will kick off on Thursday, September 5th. The defending champs, the Chiefs. Mahomes, who's fat now in the offseason, but I love it because he's got a great dad bod, so he makes me feel better about myself. They're 3-point favorites against the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson and the crew, can they shake off the playoff nightmares, and can they get a win on opening night there of the NFL season?
Yeah, I'm going to take a lot of heat for saying this, but I think this is the first time in a while that Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs take a step back. I know I've said that in the past and have made myself look really stupid saying that,
Oh.
but they lost a lot of guys on that defensive side of the football. Offensively, still think they'll be strong. I mean, you're obviously going to be strong when you have Travis Kelce and you got Patrick Mahomes, but will the motivation be there to three-peat? Gosh, I don't know. And like I said, they lost a lot of guys on defensive side of the football. I like the addition of Derrick Henry for the Baltimore Ravens. They haven't had a good, strong running game. They always seem to get the injury bug when it comes to the running back position. I like the Ravens plus the points. I think they go in there, and I actually think they pull the upset. I think the Kansas City Chiefs can have a little bit of a Super Bowl hangover in that week one. Chiefs always get out to that slow start.
Right.
They get out to a slow start, then they surprise anybody at the end of the year. I like the Ravens.
Okay, Troy likes the Ravens and +3 there on the road, taking on Kansas City opening night there of the NFL season. Taylor Swift will be there. Well, if they're still dating, I guess they could
Yeah.
potentially be broken up at that point. Next night, because the NFL doesn't give us a break, Troy does not give us a break. There's more football, and they're going to be in South America, Brazil, as the Green Bay Packers will be taking on the Eagles. And the Eagles are favored by 1.
This is a fascinating game. Both teams added great running backs. Josh Jacobs headed to the Packers. Obviously, Saquon Barkley headed to the Eagles. I hate this Eagle football team, but I think they're going to be good. I think it's a good Eagle football team. I'm taking the Eagles here. I just think this run game is going to be tough. Jalen Hurts healthy in the beginning of the year. Normally, this is a guy that gets dinged up towards the end of the year. He'll be healthy week one. I like the Eagles. I just think they're the better football team, and I think that offense is going to be tough with Saquon Barkley in
And I
there.
agree with you. And kind of a really important year there for Sirianni, the head coach of the Eagles. They don't get it done this year. There's some type of disappointment. Nick Sirianni's he's out of a job. Then it's going to get interesting for the services of a few coaches that are going to be out there potentially on the market. Okay, now no game on Saturday. NFL said we'll give it to college football. Sunday, we get the Colts at home. They're getting a 1.5 against the Houston Texans. Texans, of course, last year, C.J. Stroud, one of the surprise teams there in the NFL.
This looks like a head scratcher line here. It looks like a trap. I am going to go with the Texans. Obviously, Anthony Richardson will be back for the Colts. We really don't have enough evidence on him to be a strong quarterback in this league yet. We do have evidence on the other side of the football. This is a really good Houston Texans team. They've made some great additions in free agency. Excited to see what Stephon Diggs looks like in this offense. You got to think the Texans go in there and take care of business. But it's a head scratcher of a line, Puck. I thought when I saw this line, I thought the Texans should be favored by 3 or 4, and Vegas isn't stupid. So I would tread lightly here, but I think the Texans get the win on the road.
Okay, here's one of the worst games of, it's not one of it. This is the worst game of the opening weekend. The Saints are at home. They're favored by 5 against the Carolina Panthers, and probably by then the Panthers would have already fired their head coach.
Yeah, you're probably going to get more viewership from Caitlin Clark and the Fever than you are on this game, right? I'll go with the Saints. I think Derek Carr, another year in this offense. That Carolina team was brutal last year to watch. They really didn't do much in the offseason. I know they've got a new coaching staff, but I think Derek Carr and the Saints are the better football team. I think they win that game by a touchdown.
Yeah, that's a game. I like to bet on everything. That's a game I'm not going to bet on. I'm going to tell you right now.
Yeah.
We head to Florida. The Dolphins, Tua Tagovailoa. And of course, they had a fabulous season last year. Just, kind of jumped off. The offense was unbelievable. They will welcome in Jacksonville, and talking about, again, a team where this is an important year for Jacksonville, obviously, with the head coach and the quarterback, and what kind of step are they going to take. Dolphins find themselves right now as a 3.5-point favorite over Jacksonville.
This is a tough one, but I like the Dolphins. I've heard good things about Tua. Sounds like he's actually lost a lot of weight. He's getting rid of the dad bod, and he's going the other way. He's looked like he's in good shape. You had Odell Beckham. I'm not sure how much he really adds to that receiving core, but that was already a good offense. I think the defense will be better. They had a lot of guys dinged up last year. They'll be ready week one. I like the Dolphins to take a big leap. They might even win the division this year. I think the Dolphins win that game 28-24. It's a close one, but I like the Dolphins to cover.
Okay, we head over to Buffalo. Buffalo will be at home, and right now, as you look at the opening week lines, I think this is, if not the biggest, one of the biggest lines. The Bills at home favored by a touchdown over Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals.
Oh man, I'm a road dog on this one. I love the Cardinals. Cardinals are going to be sneaky good this year. This is a team where Kyler Murray really came into his own last year. They were very competitive down the stretch, even pulled off some nice upsets. They had Harrison to that offense. They had Trey Benson to that offense. They still got James Conner. The offensive line's bulked up. I think their defense will be a little bit better. They're well coached. I like the Cardinals to go in there. I think they could even pull off a money line upset, Puck. I'll take them to lose in a close one, 31-28, but I'll take 7
I
points
lied
here.
as I just scrolled down. I found a line that was even bigger than that. The Bengals at home, Troy, Joe Burrow. Of course, that situation that's going on, the ongoing contract issue with T. Higgins. However, they are 9-point favorites against the New England Patriots, as we expect that Drake May will be the starting quarterback in that opening weekend game there against the Bengals.
Boy, it's a lot of points for the NFL, no doubt. Nine's a lot of points, but boy, this Patriot team could be historic bad. They don't have anything. Run game's not going to be good. Offensive line looks bad. Receiving core looks roughed up. I'm sure Gerald Mayo will do a good job with the defense, but I think Joe Burrow will be amped up to get that game. I think they win in a big way. 31-13. I'll take the
Yeah, it's
Bengals.
going to be really interesting what happens there in New England. I wonder with no weapons if they ultimately don't start May right away and let somebody else take it for a
Wouldn't
while.
be
Yeah, and
surprised.
just take the lumps early in the season. Chicago Bears should be a hell of an exciting team. I'll tell you that. They might be one of the most exciting team there in 2024. Maybe, just maybe a little renaissance of what the Houston Texans, Troy, were able to do last year. They're at home, 4.5-point favorites against the visiting Tennessee Titans. Of course, Caleb Williams, Roma Dunze, great offense, at least on paper there for the Bears.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard Caleb Williams hasn't looked good in practice, but it's obviously early. I like the Bears. They're gonna have this place gonna be rocking. Soldier Field's gonna be rocking. Their offense looks good. This is a team that got a little bit of momentum going towards the end of last year. Their defense looks pretty good. The Titans don't really bring back much. I'm not sold on Will Levis. I know he had some good games last year, but I like the Bears. I think it'll be a close game, but I like the Bears in like a 31-23 type of
Okay,
football
the
game.
New York Giants are at home. Daniel Jones still rehabbing from an injury as we record this now. They're at home taking on the Minnesota Vikings. J.J. McCarthy, as we expect, will be the starting quarterback there for Minnesota after Kirk Cousins left in free agency to go to Atlanta. Giants favored by 1 at home against Minnesota. Who does TroyWins like?
I think the Giants, I've got them circled, their win total to be way under their win total. That's going to be a bad, bad football team. I think you might see some coaches fired in the middle of that season. They didn't do much in free agency, didn't really care for their draft pick with Neighbors. I just don't think they needed a receiver. They needed a receiver. I just think they had bigger needs. I'm going with the Vikings to go in there and pull off the upset. Give me the Vikings to get the win on
The
the
Atlanta
road.
Falcons will be at home. Troy, of course, the biggest story coming out of that draft for the Falcons, the fact that they sat there and paid a ton of money to go get Kirk Cousins. And then they turn around and they draft Michael Penix number 8. And people were left scratching their head, including me. But as the weeks have gone by, and I think I have understood it more now than ever why they did it. But your favorite college team, of course, Washington, your favorite quarterback there, Michael Penix in Atlanta. We'll see if he plays at all this year. But Atlanta's got some weapons, man, and they are favored by 3 against the Pittsburgh Steelers and led by quarterback Russell Wilson.
This will be a great football game, and I'm with you. I'm actually a Kirk Cousins
Me too.
fan, and I think he's in a really good system this year. So I don't see Penix getting much time unless Cousins gets hurt. I've got the Falcons winning that division and even obviously making the playoffs after they win the division. So I'm going with the Falcons in this game. I do think the Steelers are vastly improved as well, but I think the Falcons win this game by 4.
Chargers, of course, with Jim Harbaugh as their new head coach, Troy. They are favored by 3 points there over the Raiders, as the Raiders led by really America's quarterback. Some would
Yep.
say early MVP favorite of the National Football League would be one Gardner Minshew. Jim Harbaugh's living in a trailer right now, an RV. I don't know if you know this, in a trailer park right next
I haven't heard
to
this
the
one.
Chargers facility as they try to find a new house. How will Justin Herbert do under Jim Harbaugh in his first game back in the NFL, favored by 3 at home against the Raiders?
Boy, I think Jim Harbaugh's getting way, way too much credit. This team is not going to be good this year, in my personal opinion. They lost their running back. They've lost Keenan Allen, who was Herbert's favorite target. They also lost Mike Williams. They've lost guys on the defensive side of the ball. It's almost like everybody thinks Jim Harbaugh's going to be the Lord Jesus here and be able to save this team in year one. I think he'll do a good job. I think they'll take their lumps in year one. Raiders on the other side, if they can get anything from Gardner Minshew or Aiden O'Connell, this could be a vastly improved Raider team. They added guys on the defensive side of the ball. They've still got weapons on offense. Devontae Adams leading the receiving corps. I think the Raiders go in and they get that week one game 28-7, 28-27. Give me the Raiders.
Okay, your favorite team in the National Football League, the Dallas Cowboys, will open up on the road with dead man walking Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott, who will be no doubt playing in his final year in a Cowboys uniform because he doesn't have a contract because they don't like him, Troy. They don't like him there in Dallas. They're getting a point on the road against the Cleveland Browns.
I was surprised they're only getting a point. I thought they'd get a couple more, but boy, the Cleveland Browns, they've got more question marks than they know what to do with. I think this is a game where what are you going to get from Deshaun Watson? Is he even going to be starting this game? I mean, this guy's an absolute train wreck. Obviously, Nick Chubb coming back from injury. Will he be ready week one? The jury's still out on that. I hate to be biased, but I do think the Cowboys go on the road and get this win. The big question mark for me is Deshaun Watson. Is he capable of leading that offense? I don't think he is. This will be a low-scoring game, 16-13. I'd like the Cowboys.
Bucks at home getting 3.5, or excuse me, laying 3.5 against the Washington Commanders and their new quarterback, Jaden Daniels. What do you like there?
You know, normally I would say Commanders and getting the points, but I'm going Bucks. The reason I'm going Bucks is Jaden Daniels, first start on the road. That's a tough Bucks defense. They always do a good job. Todd Boyle's outstanding defensive mind. I think he makes things a little bit crazy for Daniels week one. I think Daniels one of those quarterbacks that's going to need 6, 7, 8 weeks before we see him anywhere near his potential. Baker Mayfield just got the new contract. Mike Evans got his contract. I like the Bucks in week one. I think they take care of business. They cover the points.
Rematch there in the playoffs, Troy. The Lions, which they obviously they played this game in Detroit a year ago or less than a year ago. They're at home taking on the Rams. Jared Goff with that brand new contract. I can't believe he's making over $50 million, but that's what the market pays these quarterbacks. The Lions are favored by 3 against the Rams. Who does TroyWins like?
I like the Lions. You know, the Lions is a good football team. They choked in the playoffs last year. I really thought they should have beaten the 49ers, and who knows what could have happened if they did beat the 49ers. I do think Goff's overpaid. He's getting paid a lot of money to dink and dunk, but he does a good job at it. I like the Lions. This is going to be a really good football team. Their run game's good. The defense is good, and they're going in with a lot of confidence. I'm not sure what we're getting from the Rams. Obviously, they've got the talent, but is Matthew Stafford another year older? Give me the Lions in this first week.
Well, we got a juicy Monday night game before we get to the Seahawks. You're like, hey, have you done the Seahawks game yet? No, we're leaving that to the end.
Yeah.
Juicy Monday night game. Aaron Rodgers returns. He was on Monday night last year and then tore his Achilles. They get Monday night again. He's in the Bay Area where he grew up, played his college ball. It's where he said famously on draft night, the Niners will regret not taking me. The Niners are at home, trying to get back to the Super Bowl, favored by 5.5 against Rodgers and the Jets.
I like Rodgers and the Jets. I think this is a team that you're going to have to bet early in the season. We'll see if the injuries amount in the late in the year. They've obviously got a lot of old guys on that football team, but they're veteran team. They've got a ton of talent. If they can stay healthy, that's a good football team. And going into week one, I expect them to be healthy. I think 5's too many. I'm not a big Brock Purdy fan. I think this game's decided by 3 points. It's one of those games. It can be a Monday night thriller decided by a field goal at the end. Give me 5 points.
All right,
with the
last
Jets.
one. And again, we are using the DraftKings Sportsbook app, which you can go find. And then, of course, take this wager and go to the Tulalip Resort Casino, DraftKings Sportsbook app, and make your legal wager. Finally, your Seattle Seahawks. And hopefully they're in the throwback uniforms, Troy. And I hope the Denver Broncos are in the throwback uniforms themselves. The Seahawks will open up the 2024 campaign at home against the Broncos, old AFC West rivals, Mike Harden, Steve Largent, the Donkey, John Elway, Carl Mecklenburg, the Three Amigos, Sammy Winder, Steve Sewell, who was the kicker, Rich Carlos with no shoe on, all those. I hate all those bastards, every one of them. The Seahawks are favored by 4.5 with new head coach Mike Macdonald. What do you got?
Boy, I hate to say it, but I love the Seahawks here. I do. I just think, like you said, we talked about earlier in the show, Puck. So many, we don't know what Ryan Grubb's offense is going to look like. The Broncos don't know what it's going to look like. I think it's going to be good. They've got talent on the offensive side of the ball. The defense has got some head scratchers without a doubt. How's the linebacking core going to play? Who's going to be playing in that back half? Obviously, you do have Julian Love. Who's he going to be paired with? But I just think that, the Denver Broncos, boy, you talk about a rebuild. Who's going to be quarterbacking week one? I think it's obviously going to be Bo Nix, or they wouldn't have drafted him. But is Bo Nix really going to be ready week one to play in Lumen Field? Boy, I don't know. The run game there, not good. Offensive line's not great. And their defensive side of the football is not great. I like the Seahawks somewhat in a big way. 28-17. Give me the Hawks.
Okay, 28-17 is what Troy wins. Says there, TroyWins.com. For people who don't know Troy, give them all the details. When they go to TroyWins.com, what are they going to get?
Yeah, come take a look. We're absolutely crushing it right now with prop bets, Puck, and I don't even cover that. We've got a whole team designated to prop bets, over under pitcher strikeouts, over under how many outs will a pitcher get. I mean, you name it, we're doing it. We're covering NHL playoffs right now at a high level, NBA playoffs. We've got Major League Baseball going on. We've got your golf going on, top 10s, 20s, 30s. You name it, we cover it. It's TroyWins.com. It's $29 a week. That gets you all plays. That gets you the prop bets. That's everything for just over $4
Listen
a
to them,
day.
folks, TroyWins.com, and that will do it for us. Week one, the betting lines are already out, and we just went through them all at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. You can download it to your smartphone. You can go up to the Tulalip Resort Casino on property and use that DraftKings Sportsbook app to make all your legal wagers, or just walk up to the window to make a bet, or one of their kiosks around the area. Big thanks to TroyWins.com. And again, you want any handicapping advice before you go make a bet at Tulalip Resort Casino DraftKings Sportsbook, give Troy Wins a buzz there at TroyWins.com for more information.